This is a 2024 Hyundai Kona in the N Line trim level, and as you walk up to it with the key, it'll sense the key and just illuminate the handle right here. That's all that's going to happen. There's no other lights that turn on. When I hit the unlock button, it turns on the inside lights and the exterior lights. Really good. I like the way it does this. When the vehicle's on and the headlight switch is in the off position, you still have these lights here in the front. Very bright, actually, lights here in the front, but there's no tail lights or anything on. You might potentially mistake these as headlights, but they're not. They're just accent lights or daytime running lights. If you want to turn these lights off when the vehicle's running, you do have to apply the electronic parking brake. Now I have the parking lights on, and those white lights really dimmed out. They were much brighter before. Now they're much dimmer. And you can see actually a little bit better on camera since they're dim. They're brighter on the ends, and then they connect all the way across the vehicle to the other side. There's also a amber side marker here in the front, a red side marker here in the back. Also, the taillights wrap around to the side of the vehicle. So similar to the front, where they kind of wrap around all the way across the back, looking pretty good, red in color. Tag lights are also on. Turn signal here in the front is just a standard halogen bulb, amber in color. And then there is a turn signal indicator here on the side mirror. You see it from the front to side and the back. And then there's an amber halogen bulb back here for the turn signal. Not super bright, and it's in kind of in a low position as well. But it is amber, so it separates itself with color as far as the tail lights. The brake lights, the third brake light's in the top center, and then the reverse lights are in the very bottom. They're kind of in this low position below on the very bottom part of the tail light housing. So this is what it looks like when the headlights are off. So you see quite a bit of light there on the front of the vehicle. Let's go ahead and turn on the low beams. So there's the low beams right there. And we're going to look at them going down the road so you can see how they perform. But the low beams are a projector here at the bottom. So you can see there's actually two projectors here. Hopefully you can see that. There we go. So the top one is the high beams, the low beams, and the bottom one is the high beams. And the cutoff here, about, really low. Yeah, about 2.5 feet off the ground. Now for the high beams, like so. And now the high beams, you can see there's two projectors on, so it's actually adding light, which is nice. I like that. I like when we have an additional light for the low beams, or for the high beams, instead of just refocusing the existing light. So yeah, so now we have the complete set, two on each side, and we'll see what they look like going down the road and perform in a real world driving situation here in just a few minutes. Cargo lights are not all that great. All we have is a single light here on the left side, and you can see I just have this one case here, and it blocks all the light to the other side. So it's in a fairly low position here, only on one side. So lots of shadows everywhere in this cargo area. So not the best light as far as the cargo area, not the best lighting situation at all. The inside of the back door, there's no puddle lights or anything like that. There's no pocket lights. This light right here, that switch doesn't even have a light. So there's no lights here on the door. All right, so the back seat, there's a dome light there in the center, and it's actually bright enough to it does a decent job even with this black interior. Kind of surprised, but the brightness really helps out with that. And you can see there's USB ports that are backlit illuminated right in here. The inside of the front door, there's no puddle light or anything like that, but it does have the backlit buttons. Unlike the back door, the front buttons here are backlit illuminated, but there's no pocket lights or anything like that. And the lights here on the front are coming from right here in the center, basically the map lights basically, and then in addition to that center dome light. And once again, because of the brightness, it does a decent job even with the black interior. Okay, I have the inside lights on. I have the door open actually, so you can see what it looks like here. Shut the door, and we're left with the backlit buttons. And you can see there's no light in the floorboard or anything like that. I do have the brightness turned up, and I'll go through the range of brightness here in a second. But there's the steering wheel controls that are illuminated. Over here, brightness controls and all that stuff here. There's the screen. Basically, we have a screen here for the gauges. There's the screen. And then we have the, I like the way the shifter stock is illuminated. Hopefully it'll focus right there. So yeah, that's nicely illuminated so you can see what you're doing. Right in here, all these controls are backlit, but there's this whole section here that's not illuminated. So let me turn the inside lights on. Let's see. Just figured another problem. But okay, I'll show you in a second. So right in here, there's a cell phone charger, a little storage pocket that's not illuminated. This whole area right in here is not illuminated. Here's my business cards, they're in the way. But yeah, this whole area is dark. So if I turn off the inside lights, you can't see anything in this area, you know? Now, you know, if you want to turn the inside lights on, fine, you can see in there, but there's no illumination by default. Bright glove compartment light, that's nice. Kind of surprised it has one. But there's a compartment there. There's no illumination, no nothing. So I'm kind of surprised with the N Line, there's no ambient light or anything like that. So let me turn the inside light on again, because there's a very useful shelf right there that a very soft light, doesn't have to be bright, would be really useful. Okay, so up here there is there's a button, and you probably can't see what I'm talking about because it's so dark. There's a button to turn on the interior lights, and the only time you're going to use that button is when it's dark and it's not backlit. For some reason, some vehicles do this. It's really weird. So the only button that's not backlit here in the front is the one that helps you turn on the interior lights, and it itself is not backlit. So very interesting. But there is these lights that you can tap. You can push those and turn on those independently. The visor has a mirror, and the light has a separate switch. If you want to turn on the light, you turn it on separately. And if you leave it on accidentally, when you close this, it'll hit the button and turn it off for you. The camera works really good. The resolution and the brightness is really good on the camera system. Now it just has the backup camera on this vehicle, but it does work good. Okay, so I'm going to go through the range of brightness here on the switch, because it's not just the screen here, it actually controls a lot. So as I go up and down, you can see that both screens, including the backlit buttons, are also affected by the brightness. This is what the interior looks like while you're driving. It is easy on the eyes. I don't mind lights that are kind of bright, so I do have the brightness level up, but you can lower them down quite a bit. The screen over here for the navigation is blacked out, so it's not overly bright. None of the screens are really the brightest things are these backlit buttons over here. The screens aren't really an issue for me as far as the brightness, even at a very bright, level. So there's the low beams on the fence, the light pattern, the cutoff. There's a little shadow there as well, and I think the technical term is a notch. I've been using shadow or notch, but I think some manufacturers call it an actual notch for the oncoming traffic. Anti-glare notch is what they call it. So there's the high beams, there's the low beams, and we'll see what it looks like. So put it on automatic, and then there's automatic high beams. There we go. Usually on Hyundais, they're pretty good about the automatic high beams, but not always. The Palisade, I think it had a problem with the front camera or something. Even it's weird because, yeah, it's an outlier as far as the automatic high beams for Hyundais. It was actually very bad, but this one, we'll see how it goes. Not a lot of traffic on the road, which is good for the light viewing here, for the headlight pattern. Put it on low beams manual so we can see. So as we go down this little bit of a hill, you'll see that there's a shadow, and it's perfect. There's a car coming, so that shadow should line up with that car. There we go. Yeah, seems like it's lining up right on the oncoming lane. So that way avoids the variations in the road and also the glare on the road. So they get spared from the bright light. Okay, so there's the high beams. We're going. It's a little bit darker up here, but that's what it looks like here in this area. It's looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Now we have two projectors on each side, and they overlap. And so far, it's looking pretty good. Both the brightness is good, but also the pattern itself, and that's a big deal. Like, some vehicles have a great pattern, but the brightness isn't. It's not very bright headlights, you know. In this case, so far, it looks like the brightness in the pattern is looking pretty good. All right. Okay. Good. Automatic high beams work then. Okay, so they should turn on now. Okay, so perfect. All right, so this is pretty dark, and the trees are off the road a little bit, so we can see how far the light projects down the road, but also on the sides of the road. And it's looking pretty good. It's quite a bit brighter close to the vehicle, so it fades out. The distance fades out, but not that bad. It's enough brightness at the furthest distance there to, you know, drive safely. Also, that shadow is not causing a problem. Sometimes it wanders over. It is actually on this side of the road right now, but it's not a big deal. You know, it's not actually causing a problem. Okay, so that shadow notch is now on the other side. We'll see how okay, so the automatic high beam is working good right now. Oh yeah. Yeah, I can see those trees in the distance. I can see the road nicely. There's not any patching. You know, the four lights overlap enough to where there's not patchiness on the road. And we have both the low beams on still, but then we add the high beams. And so that helps out with, you know, the overall brightness, but also the additional light up above the low beam cutoff. And the height of the high beams seems pretty good as well, because like we're on flat roads right now, but if you're on hilly roads and you're going up and down hills, that additional height could help out. So like, you know, this is like considered a hill around here. It's like nothing. It's super flat. And relatively straight roads, that's another thing. But yeah, I'm impressed with these headlights. I do like them, and automatic high beams are working fine right now. So yeah, I think these are good. These are not like the best headlights or anything, but they're certainly adequate for sure. And nice bright LEDs, working good. Let me know what you think in the comments.